If you have written your IELTS and CBT, I'm sure you may have started applying for UK nursing jobs. How many applications have you done so far? Leave that in the comment section. I'm really sure you have done so many job applications. 100, 200, 300 and still counting. But in all this, you get unfortunate messages. Some don't even reply to your messages at all. And at a point, you are left thinking and you start asking questions like,
has the UK put a ban on recruiting overseas nurses?
And also,
why don't NHS trusts want international nurses anymore?
If you have ever asked yourself any of these questions, then in this video, we are going to talk. We are going to talk about why the UK isn't actively recruiting international nurses anymore and what you can do to ensure that your IELTS, CBT and OSCE don't get wasted. Alright, welcome back. My name is Stack Mwajima and my name is by profession and a content creator by passion. If today is your first time seeing my channel, I really appreciate you for being here for the very first time. And I'll plead that you hit the subscribe button and become part of the family so that anytime I upload a new video, you'll be the very first person to get to watch. And don't forget to like and share this video as well. To understand why all these halabalus are happening to UK recruitment, you need to understand what happened 5 years ago. The question is, what happened 5 years ago? Let's start from the very beginning.
Has the UK put a ban on recruiting overseas nurses? And why don't NHS trusts want international nurses anymore? And I know that there are a lot of stressed out nurses out there who have passed their English language tests, they've passed their CBTs, and they don't want their documents to expire. So what's going on? To understand that question, you need to know what happened 5 years ago during the pandemic. The UK's then Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, pledged that he would recruit 50,000 new nurses to the UK within the next 3 years. So how is he going to achieve it? For 3 years running, he subsidised NHS trusts with the upfront costs of international recruitment. So a lot of NHS trusts who had lots of vacancies at the time said, this is a great opportunity to bring in overseas nurses, and so they did. In fact, around 43,000 of the 50,000 nurses that were recruited under Boris Johnson's pledge were overseas nurses. So Boris achieved his objective, and then the funding was stopped. That meant two things. Number one, trusts didn't have nearly as many vacancies as they did. And two, recruiting overseas became really expensive again. So a lot of NHS trusts stopped doing it. At the same time, NHS England set out their mandate that the NHS should be retaining their staff rather than simply recruiting new staff, which has also led to a reduction in the number of overseas nurses being recruited. So what does that mean for you if you're wanting to work in the UK as a foreign nurse? Well, a few things. Firstly, it is a lot harder to get a job as an overseas nurse at the moment in the UK, but it's not impossible, and here's some things that you may want to consider when looking for a job in the UK right now. Number one, NHS England has stopped funding for overseas nurses, but NHS Wales hasn't. There are definitely still hospitals in Wales that are recruiting internationally. Number two, it is easier to get a job in the private UK healthcare sector right now. Think private hospitals, nursing homes. One thing that you might want to check is whether they're on the UK sponsor list, which means that they have the right to employ staff internationally. You can check that on the UK Home Office website. And number three, if you have a skills speciality, there are definitely still niches in the UK that have higher numbers of vacancies, particularly mental health roles and theatre positions. And just to reassure you, if you really have your heart set on the UK, is that recruitment cycles like this in the world of international recruitment are not uncommon. Every 10 years or so, we see this kind of spike and fall. With an aging population, an aging workforce, and insufficient investment in the domestic pipeline of international nurses, demand will rise again. It's just a matter of time. So in the meantime, I hope that's helpful, and I'll see you in our next video.
Alright, so this happens to be the issue on board, and I believe that whatever explanation she has given is quite clear. But there are a few stats I picked on here, and I'm going to repeat them for you to understand. Understand that when it comes to the UK, there are possibly 4 countries involved. We have England, we have Northern Ireland, we have Scotland, and then Wales. And as it stands now, most people are geared towards applying for jobs in the NHS in England. As per the video, probably you can look elsewhere like Scotland, you can look elsewhere like NHS Wales, you can look into private hospitals as well. So I don't think the fact that everything out in CBT or once that you should automatically work in England. Recruitment is quite stuck in England at the moment as per what is happening, and I think if you don't want to out in CBT and perhaps your skill to get expired, you have to look elsewhere. And one particularly good thing is that you see each one of these countries I've talked about is regulated by the UK NMC. So let's say you've done your IELTS and CBT, you've gone through your NMC registration, and you're like, do you have to start all over again to get a job in Scotland or in Wales? It doesn't really happen that way. The fact that you've done your NMC registration and stuff, you've done your OSCE, your CBT, it all applies to Scotland, it all applies to NHS Wales. So based on what is happening, I don't want you to focus your attention on England because there has been a reduction in recruitment nowadays. I remember my time I did just 18 applications and I had 3 job offers. But just imagine, people are doing 100 applications and not even a single interview. Some people have done 350. The last time I was speaking to a friend who said as at that time he's done 250 applications. He had 1 interview, and even that they had to call to cancel it. It's quite disheartening. And you hear a lot of messages out there where people are talking about some of these stuff and you get scared. Is my art going to go to waste? Is my CBT going waste? Is my OSCE going waste? I think you have to look elsewhere. So with my previous video I made, I talked about the fact that at an international net, you have done art and CBT and you've gone the extent to do your OSCE. It's much better you have a plan B. Don't only focus your attention on the UK, specifically England. Look elsewhere. Okay, Canada is recruiting, Australia, Scotland and stuff. So you've got to look at how is it possible, how am I going to get in there. It's about doing a bit of research and then seeing the stats you need to ensure that this is done. Because for me, to be very disheartening for me to lose my IELTS, to lose my OSCE, to lose my CBT, all because I couldn't put them into fruition. So basically, this is what is happening at the moment, and she suggested a couple of things you can do. So please endeavor to share this video, endeavor to like, and then don't forget to subscribe to this channel as well. So let me just know how many applications you've done in the comment section, and then we see how best we can look into that. So in my next video, I'm going to try as much as possible to teach you how you can apply for jobs in Scotland and stuff. Okay, so you start from the UK NMC registration, the requirements you need, and then basically everything, so that at least you can also look into that aspect as well. And one thing I can also say is that even if you still have the interest to work in the NHS in England, possibly you can start from somewhere, look into Scotland, look into Wales, and then when you are stabilized, you can start searching for jobs in England, and later you move. Okay, so there is just some of the stuff that you can look into, and then at the end of the day you would be quite okay with that. Thank you very much. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.